Hello everyone, it's Brian here in Toronto. You may recall from my last video, I said I went to a record show in Toronto, the Toronto Downtown Record Show. And on the same day, I went to a record store with Low Noise Jason Skill. So I'm going to tell you about what I found at those two venues. But first, I wanted to mention something that I should have mentioned in my previous recent finds video. And that is that our friend from Down Under, Ben from Melbourne, Ben Rankins, you may know him as King of Fashion or King of Shirts, has a new EP out with his band called the 1980s. I will leave a link to it below where you can stream it or buy it if you like. Now, you may know that Ben has been active in the Melbourne music scene for quite some time, and this is his newest project with the band called the 1980s. They're described as an indie rock band with kind of a shoegaze element to them, so I find it quite interesting. Please go have a look at it and maybe give it a stream to see what you think. And now I'm going to move on to what I bought at the record show. So I'm going to start with this one. This is the Pixies and it's called Velouria. So, you know, the question that immediately popped to mind is this an EP or is this a 12-inch single? Because the track Velouria is from Bossa Nova, and this is bundled with 3 B-sides. So, interesting question. This came out in 1990. This happens to be a UK pressing. So, no one who paid the $20 early admission bought this, but I came in later and bought it. It was still there. So, it has Velouria, of course. Make Believe is the second track on side A. And on side 2, there is a track called I've Been Waiting For You, which of course is the cover of a Neil Young song sung by Kim Deal, and then a track called The Thing. I think the cover of the Neil Young song is okay. It didn't blow my mind, but I love Kim's voice, so it's good to hear her sing that. And I hadn't heard it before. And I think those 3 tracks are unavailable unless you pick up a Pixies compilation or B-sides collection. And Velouria itself, what a great song. In fact, I hadn't even seen the video before, so I looked up the video for it. Kind of a fun video. I'd never seen it before. There's the label, for you people who like labels. So that was a good find. I will always buy Pixies 12 inches if they're a reasonable price when I see them, so I'm happy to have that. Second thing is from a band that I'm not even sure that I'm a big fan of, but the condition of these records was really good. I bought 2 from the same artist, and the price was incredible. Now, I think that this is a band where I prefer the 70s output, but I grabbed these because, as I say, they were in good shape, and the price was really good. So this is a double live album from Tangerine Dream called Poland. The Warsaw Concert, released in 1984. Now, I guess many people will know more about Tangerine Dream than I do, but obviously a German electronic band, a bit of krautrock, ambient, prog, and then in some cases maybe a little new age, I suppose. Anyway, here have the 3 members: Edgar Froese, Johannes Schmoling, Christoph Frank, and I have some solo works from Johannes Schmoling as well. So there's the track listing, 4 tracks on 4 sides. I've only listened to the first record of here, though, because I haven't had a chance. But Poland, the first song, really captured my attention. I quite liked it. There's some elements, and this might seem wacky, but there's certain elements that remind me of Steve Reich. Now, just a little bit, not all the way through, but there's certain parts by that I was kind of thinking of him. And this is the gatefold. Now, one of the interesting things about this is there's a list of all the instruments these guys are playing here under their names. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like... How did they play all those at the same time? Like under Christoph Frank, must be 12 or 14 instruments. Each person has these massive amount of things. It's interesting. But there's a picture of them there. So interesting recording. There's the labels. Jive Electro. I used to have some Tangerine Dream on compact disc, like Sorcerer, the soundtrack. There's more, and I don't know what happened to them. And so I guess I'm still deciding. I think I prefer the earlier stuff like Phaedra and whatnot, but we'll see how this goes. Not terrible. I kind of enjoyed the first record. And then right beside it was another one, Underwater Sunlight. And I know some people will argue that this is their worst album. Some will say it's their best record. I honestly don't know, and I only streamed a couple of segments. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. But this, of course, is where I don't know if it's the first record. This might be the first record where Paul Haslinger joins after Johannes Schmeling left. So that may indicate a different change of direction. I don't know. I don't know enough about the band to tell you that. Same labels, but I will listen to this and see what I think. I don't think I'm going to go down a giant Tangerine Dream rabbit hole, except for I know there's some in the 70s that I will like better, for sure. Okay, so I don't often like to buy things twice, but I bought this because I am kind of a Smiths Morrissey kind of completist guy, and this is the 12-inch single for Interesting Drug, the UK version. I, of course, have the Canadian 12-inch single for this, and if you know that one, the cover is slightly different. The Canadian is orange, this is not, and it says special etched disc. So this has 2 tracks on it. The Canadian one has Interesting Drug, Such a Little Thing Makes a Big Difference, and a live version of Sweet and Tender Hooligan from Wolverhampton in 1988. This doesn't have the live track, it just has the first 2. There you can see Interesting Drug on the back. This is a polyline sleeve, and of course you'll see the 2 tracks that are on here on the front. And it is in fact etched, so it says Motorcycle Au Pair Boy. And then there's this image which maybe is supposed to be Morrissey. Anyway, so that's just my obsessive need to pick up anything that's Smiths or Morrissey related, even though I already have that. That was his, let me see if I can get this right. I think that was his 4th single after Suede Head. The last, Every Day's Like Sunday, last of the famous International Playboys, Interesting Drug. Tell me if I'm right. And the last thing I got at the record show is something I have on compact disc. There we go again, rebuying things, but it's Spiritualized Laser Guided Melodies. And from the hype sticker there, you will see that it says Special Edition, the classic debut album reissued with new artwork on double 180-gram white vinyl. And in fact, this is a gatefold, and the shrink wrap has not been taken off, but it's been opened. So I'm going to show you what's in here. And maybe I should just take the shrink wrap off here, because I always take the shrink wrap off gatefolds, maybe not always on non-gatefold albums. All right, so I'm seeing this gatefold for the first time. So the only difference between this cover and the compact disc is this is white and the compact disc cover is black. So white vinyl. There's 2 records in here, and I think I mentioned I didn't mention it's 45 RPM. And again, I'm a big fan of Spiritualized, so I will of course duplicate my compact disc collection on vinyl and vice versa. So a strange thing to do, but there you go. So I'm happy to have that. And then I made my way down to Rotate This, where I met up with Jason Skills. And of course, in the last video, if you watched it, he gave me a record, which I very much appreciate. And then we spent some time looking around in Rotate This, and I bought a couple things there. So the first thing is an RSD item, which I didn't buy on RSD because of the price. I have seen this in the store a couple times, and today I just caved in and bought it. So as you'll see, this is Wall of Voodoo, their debut EP from another EP from 1980. So we look at the price, $50 on a record store day, but they marked us down to half price. So I guess when I saw it last time, I was wondering if they would reduce it more, and they didn't. But I thought $25, that's a lot better than 50. So it has Can't Make Love, Ring of Fire, Long Arm Struggle, Grandma's House, and The Passenger. And it says, originally formed to provide film scores for sci-fi and horror movies, Wall of Voodoo shot to fame in 1983 with their hit single Mexican Radio and its accompanying video, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this is a limited edition of 2,000 copies on swirl marbled vinyl with a 24 by 24 inch poster. So just a paper sleeve here on this, I think, rather fetching looking vinyl, right? And of course, Stan Ridgway left the band at some point, right? And he was replaced by Andy Pryboy. I prefer the Stan Ridgway era. There's an insert with some lyrics. And then there is this poster, which I might have to put up in the bedroom. I'm kidding, it's not going up in the bedroom. I don't know what to do with posters that come in records now. You know, Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, the poster is still folded in the record sleeve with the stickers. I didn't show you the back. Anyway, I'm happy to have that. I have occasionally seen this original pressing from 1980, but the price has always been not really what I wanted to pay. The Cult Dreamtime from 1984, their debut full-length record, Canadian pressing. And if you know this record really well, and if you can see the track listing, you will realize that the track order here is different from the original UK pressing. It leads off with Go West and Spirit Walker, the two singles. And I don't know why they did that. I guess they wanted to get your attention in case you've heard those on the radio before. Strange. Here is the Beggar's Banquet label. Pretty cool, right? So that is fun. It reminded me that I do have the Death Call and Southern Death Cult back there somewhere. I've just never pulled them out. Then we have a Toronto band, a Canadian band from Toronto called Lullaby Orchestra. This is called Threats/Worship. Here's the back. This is now a husband and wife team. I have their first record, their first full length, called Amp Grave. Now, Justin Taylor Small. It's Kate Taylor Small and Justin Taylor Small. He was the guitarist in Do Make Say Think, or I guess still is. And I don't know what her background was, but they got married at some point. They've released 2 full-length records, plus I think there's a demo CD out somewhere. Now, the hype sticker on this says, heavy, foreboding, and unforgiving, the crushing bass and thunderous drums of Lullaby Orchestra. It is not music for the inhibited. Includes a free MP3 download, but I think that was... Oh, maybe there is one in there. I should see if I can download it. So, Canadian drum and bass duo. This is much heavier than the first record, if you ask me. It is out there. It's crushing for sure. In fact, I made a note of a quote from Pitchfork Media. It says, pure grindhouse grit, ugly, brutal, yet thrilling as all hell. So alt rock and experimental, but this particular record, the second record, is far more hard rock than the first one, I think. And this was astonishingly only $8, which I thought was, wow. A used copy, but still pretty good. And then finally, a record I've seen many, many, many times. In fact, I've seen other records from this band, and for some reason, have just never bought it. But Jason pushed it in my direction and recommended it, so I finally got 999 High Energy Plan. This is a weird US-Canada release only. It compiles some tracks from their first 2, I guess, records and puts them on here, so some singles. And of course, I know the song Homicide very well. I've heard it many, many, many times. The rest I don't think I knew, but this is, I guess you'd call them post-punk new wave, I suppose. Maybe even punk, I'm not sure. But this is enjoyable. I don't think all their records get great reviews, but they're still making music as far as I know. But this is pretty good. It's funny that on the cover it says 999, but actually on the spine, it says 999 there, but on the label they use the numbers 999. So apparently that's I know it's the UK, figure 999, UK emergency phone number, which took me a while to get used to because here it's 911, of course. But anyway, 999. Thought that was pretty good. So that's it. We had a coffee afterwards, as I mentioned, and that was it. So thanks for watching. I guess I'll see you in the next video, whenever that is.